Welcome everybody here at the town office and all of you over in Zoom land. Zoom people, can you hear me? Okay, well, I'm assuming that since they're all muted.
They're all muted.
Okay, that was the first absurdity. But anyway, welcome to the select board meeting at 6:30. And here we go. I'm calling the meeting to order. And Chip, would you share the rules of procedure, please?
Laura said yes, by the way, so she can hear you. She
Oh.
just texted me yes. We're good. Yeah, here we go. Vermont's Open Meeting Law 1 VSA 312H requires that the public be given a reasonable opportunity to express opinions on matters considered by the board, provided order is maintained under reasonable rules set by the chair. The Select Board invites public comment on each agenda item, an approach designed to support public engagement and meaningful participation in the board's decision-making process. To help keep the meeting on track, time limits will be applied. Comments should remain focused on the agenda item being discussed. There we go.
Thank you so much, Chip.
Got it.
Do we have any changes to agenda order? Okay. Next, we have public comments or announcements. Does anybody have a public comment or an announcement for us? Any hands raised out there?
In Zoom land?
Nope.
No? Okay, then we shall move on.
We have one back here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ellie.
Ellie.
Just a quick announcement that SEVCA is doing a meeting with individuals regarding taxes and homestead at Broadbrook Community Center. So if anybody wants to participate in that and meet with SEVCA, please give us a call and we can give you Emily Strasser's phone number so that you can get help if you would like it. And
It's
that's on this Friday, the 13th.
Friday the 3rd, an easy date to remember.
Yes.
Is there a time frame?
You have to sign up for times.
Okay. It's a wonderful service. And it's such a great return on our investment in them, very directly benefiting Guilford. So, okay. Next, we have the approval of minutes, and the minutes of the special meeting of 1/23/26. Before we consider approval of the minutes, I wanted to acknowledge that it was an unusual circumstance that after the meeting was officially adjourned, all of the select board members stayed here, and there was considerable discussion that the select board had a minor part in, and this is against open meeting rules, and I wanted to acknowledge that for the public. Apologize for my lack of understanding as chair. And I will remind the select board and the public that once the meeting is closed, open meeting law prevents the select board from continuing to discuss any business. So, having said that, I'll move that the minutes of the actual meeting be approved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, is there any further conversation? Okay, then I'll call the roll. Tara out there. Aye. Okay, Chip.
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
And Sheila?
Aye.
Okay, so is there a motion to
And
approve?
you say aye.
Oh, I say aye as well, thank you so much. I'm getting to the end of my tenure.
Right?
Not the end
Not
of,
so fast.
not the end of my rope, however.
Sorry, I want to interrupt. There's someone named Christy. Christy, could you please put in your last name? Thank you.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion for acceptance of the regular minutes of 1/28/26?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion?
Good minutes.
Thank you. Okay.
Lorraine is to be congratulated.
Yes.
She's doing it. Yeah, it's really easier to follow them now.
Yep,
Okay,
she's
Tara, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chip?
I have to abstain. I wasn't at the last meeting.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. no
I'm
worries.
sure we missed you.
Yes, I missed you guys. Yes.
Okay, Mike?
Aye.
Sheila?
Aye.
And I say aye, so the meetings are approved. Okay, so Tara is under the weather, so I will read the warrants. I move that we approve the following warrants. Payroll week 2/8/26 for the sum of $8,250.63. Payroll week 2/1/26 for the sum of $8,270.09. Expense warrant number 2615 for $84,145.09. Expense warrant number 2615A for the sum of $3,654.16 for a total of $104,319.97. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, and so in explaining some of the items in the warrants, there is Allegiance Trucks, $1,092.50 for filters for the 2016 International truck, the 2017 International, and the 2022 International truck, those three. Blue Cross Blue Shield for the sum of $11,449.47. Cargill, $2,143.82 for salt. DJ's, $1,651.78 for repairs on 6 different trucks. There is the town lawyers, $2,400 for legal review of public records policy, planning grant, and town meeting warrant. Roberts Energy, $7,922.41, diesel and heating oil for the town garage. Royco, $1,209.70 repairs and hydraulic fluid for 6 highway vehicles. The steel shed, $1,442.51 for repair parts for 6 highway vehicles. Passive, that's liability insurance, $15,023.29 for liability and workers' comp insurance. Note that Guilford Volunteer Fire Department reimburses the town for $2,207.63. Vermont tax, $1,969.22 for payroll tax. And Zelazny Excavating, $29,085 for sand. So those are the invoices of note. The other invoice, 261.5A, is for payments to M&T Bank for credit card expenses and Vermont Department of Taxes. So, are people ready to vote?
Sure.
Okay, Tara, what is your vote?
Aye.
Okay, Chip,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Sheila,
Aye.
and Veranda says aye. Okay, so now we have Jimmy giving us an update on the Highway Department.
Okay.
Welcome, Jimmy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are
That's a short
things?
note.
Yes, very short. I've got to be more efficient. You got a lot of stuff to do. So we're kind of in midwinter grind here in the highway department. But I've been saying that the winter's been rough, and it doesn't really become real until you start reading those warrants, and then that's about half the sand budget in the month of January.
Wow, half the sand budget in 1 month.
Well, paid for it in 1 month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not all used, but
No.
we start with a full shed. We try to keep it full on our spare time. We have taken advantage of a couple good days last week and got our old pressure washer out and got it running now that we have sufficient, and washed all of the town's equipment.
Wow.
Which then you find the cracked hoses and the leaks and but it's still, you're not hiding in your head in the sand. So it's great that we can do that. We'll try to do that more, but and hopefully there's more warm days coming. Just to one aside, that leads to the maintenance. We let things dry off, and then you find out what you got to fix. And so there was a bunch of stuff. I don't know if you know Richard DeGray, but he's a figure in Brattleboro.
Yes.
And he saw me in the price chopper, and he said, "Heard you on the select board meeting last week." I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yep, they give you the mic and you're up there making excuses for bills, for warrants." So, having said that, I'll just let you know that
He needs to get a life if he's
I know,
watching.
right?
he's watching Guilford too.
Selectboard.
Yeah, he's keeping track of everybody. But an oil change, we're starting to do. The equipment's coming due. We did the loader this week. We bought the filters. It's $500 to $800 for an oil change. I mean, these are big, expensive pieces of equipment, and I've said it before. I guess I am making excuses because it even, it shocks me and some of it's just routine maintenance. But we are using a lot of material and all that. So that's what we're into. It's not snowing currently, maybe tomorrow night. And
Got any
We'll just keep it
idea
going.
how much we'll have tomorrow that you believe?
a lot of people aren't talking about it, but 2 to 4,
Okay.
and 20 to 80%. We seem to hit a lot of 20%ers and don't talk about the 80s like you would think would be the opposite. But so you don't know. When you wake up, you'll know. So and then this week we did a little kickoff meeting for the Slate Rock project, which there'll be more coming in the future to talk about. A lot more, I'm sure. But yeah, so that's what we're doing.
Great. Well, does anybody have any questions for Jimmy?
Thank you.
As ever.
No, I mean, thank you.
Oh,
For doing
yeah.
everything, yeah.
I thought you meant for being brief.
No, no.
I was going to say thank you for that.
Well, I always like to know what the meaning
Me
of it
too.
all is, and that takes time.
Yep.
So we'll discuss meaning another time, Jimmy.
Very
I
good.
think it's great.
Very
Thanks
good.
so
Thanks,
much.
bud.
And
Okay.
please tell the guys how much we appreciate how they're working for us.
Thank you.
The roads look great.
All right.
Okay, so now it's time
In
for,
their list.
I'm sorry?
That was just a random from Zoom.
Oh,
Who is
yeah.
Cindy Clark?
Did she want to say something?
I don't think so.
Yep, Cindy.
Cindy,
No.
did you want to say
No,
something to
I'm
us?
not, no, not at all.
Oh, well, it's nice to see you.
I'm muted. According to this, I'm muted.
Well, you're
Are
not, so.
I can mute you if you like.
Okay,
Please.
Okay. So.
okay, so Erica, it is your turn.
Okay, I'll try to outdo Jimmy in brevity.
A haiku perhaps?
Oh, that's a good idea, but I didn't do that. So our last meeting was just a week and a half ago. So right after that meeting, it seems like a while back, but I posted the town meeting warning on the voter checklist, how to register sample ballots at the 3 places in town that it's required to be posted: the town office, the Guilford store, and the Green River Covered Bridge. It's also posted online, except the voter checklist I don't think is online. That's in the physical places, so you can come and make sure you're on the voter checklist. Voting is happening. Town clerk is collecting ballots every day. The ballot box is open outside.
So we should just make sure to repeat that. If people want to vote early or know people who need an absentee ballot, they're available now. So tell your relatives who are in the South sunning themselves that if they want to vote, they better call the office and get a ballot.
Right, you can request one online at myvoterpage.vt.gov, I think. And so something that I've heard Uriel explaining to people a lot is that like someone will come in and want to get one for an absentee ballot for their spouse or roommate. You can't do that according to the Secretary of State. The Secretary of State wants the town clerk to hand the ballot to the person that it's going to or mail it. So you can come in and request a ballot for your spouse or your roommate, but the town clerk will have to mail that out. You can't just take it with you. So,
Is that new? Because
It's not, but it's
99-year-old mother.
Yes. Call Uriel and ask if there's
Okay.
a way. I think
Hardship?
Well,
He'll have to-
I usually pick it up for her.
right. I think you may have to mail it,
Okay,
or she could come.
good to know now.
Yeah. Okay, so a draft of the town report was delivered to us late last week. There's still some corrections and finishing touches to put on it before it goes to print in 2 days. That task is now in my hands, which is fine. I'm enjoying it actually. But there's just a few little bits and bobs to finish up before it goes off to press in order to be in everyone's hands by pre-town meeting. I have spent a lot of the last week and a half helping with this petition that the select board is anticipating. Like Jimmy said, Slate Rock kickoff meeting, that was cool, and Du Bois and King is going to do the engineering piece on that, and they understand what's happening right there in that spot, and they're looking at places to put the temporary bridge is the first order of business for them. One last piece of news that I have is that Sheriff Mark Anderson caught me on the phone and has talked me into appearing at a legislative hearing to give testimony from a town that doesn't have a contract with the sheriff's office, and just our feelings about his regional policing plan. So if any of you want to weigh in on that, I'm all ears, and I can pass that sentiment on to the legislature.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Has Mark Anderson put out in public yet the regional policing plan so that people, especially maybe the people here who had been on the committee to consider policing in Guilford, could really take a deep dive into the plan?
Don't know that there is a plan. There's what's happening in the legislature now will enable there to be a plan, is what my understanding is.
Okay.
Isn't there a lot of, haven't we in the past several years prepared a lot of materials to talk about at town meeting? And with the committee that was, whatever committee that was appointed, that you could draw from for your remarks, because that represents a lot of community concern.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And feedback from, there was a survey,
A
wasn't
survey,
there?
yeah.
So you've got a lot of information already that would be really helpful there, I think.
Yes. And that's my report.
Okay, well,
Thank you,
thank you. Thank you, Erica. It's always amazing the scope of work and how much detail there is requiring accurate attention. It's a lot, as they say these days. So, okay, now we get to move on to new business. and we have the creation of the library fund. And so do we want to put the motion on the floor and then I think Ellie has an explanation for us, or shall we have Ellie's explanation and then have a motion?
I can move.
Okay,
I move that we create the Guilford Free Library Fund to track the library's financial assets.
okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Ellie, would you please give us your brief explanation of this?
Sure. And John is also here as a
Great.
trustee from the library to chime in at any time. I had sent a spreadsheet, a visual to the select board, which, if anybody else wants to see it, let me know. But basically, we'd like to set up this fund because we'd like to be able to track the grants and the expenses of the library that are outside of the 003 budget, the general budget of the town. Because this is a municipal library. And I'm not sure, would you like to just briefly say about the friends and the trustees together, have been working together for a while, and we want to make sure, tell me if I'm wrong, to kind of separate the funds that are for the friends and then the funds that have been raised specifically for the library. And those specifically for the library that the trustees are in charge of would be the funds coming into, the money coming into the library fund that we want to create. And it would be very clear then, I think, it's a clear way to help folks understand what money the town, how the town is supporting the library, which right now is through payroll and books and services. Those two line items are in the 003 budget. And then separating that from the grants that they receive, because their grants kind of go through our door and out to them. There's humanities grants they usually get for $5,000 for summer programming. There's there you have a fiber optics grant, which is for all the internet, and that's like about a 10-year grant, and they're in their third or fourth year? Second year of that grant. And a courier grant that they get, which is around $600 a year. But by creating this fund that's specifically library monies that the trustees are in charge of, we can help them keep track of that and help people understand how what the trustees are in charge of is separate from what the town is in charge of. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're proposing to do.
Okay, does anybody have any questions about, yeah, Kim?
I do.
Kim, you want to identify yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Kim Frost. I live in Guilford. Who is keeping track of the money now for the trustees?
Yeah, the Amber, the library director, is handling that with working with the friends. So what we have now is that the Friends of the Library, which is a private organization, has been over the last several years collaborating with the trustees, and we were sharing a bank account, but we are trying to separate that out and have the Friends just do their own thing completely and the library do its own thing completely.
And who has been doing the accounting on it?
We've had hired a bookkeeper to do the bookkeeping. I mean, the general bookkeeping gets done by Amber, but that to get to like file taxes and have it reviewed, we hire a bookkeeper.
Okay. So it has been reviewed and all of the legal obligations of the money that you want to bring to the town
Right.
has been
Yeah,
taken
yeah.
care of.
Yeah, and it's just been done. This is a way to bring more clarity to it,
Yeah.
because when we're working with the Friends, it's not, not all of that becomes part of, public meetings and public information, so this is to bring it over so that it's all in one place, and so the Friends will continue to do their own fundraising and their own expenses that they incur, they'll do on their own, but the trustees will, everything that the trustees are doing will be reflected in this fund.
Sheila, did you have a question or a comment?
I have a comment, which is, I did a deep dive into this proposal. I think it was really well done, really clear. The spreadsheet was particularly illuminating. I really appreciated that. And I am totally in favor of it I just wanted to, how we have, when we create a fund, we have a description of why the fund was created, and I think we need to be really careful. And I've already shared my concerns about the wording of that, so that it's really clear that it's the 003 municipal operating budget. But otherwise, I think it's a great job. Thank you both.
I would like to add, you named the fund, but I would like to add the word trustee to
The library
fund.
trustees, financial assets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I've got
shall we?
one quick question too, if you don't mind.
Oh,
Tammy.
okay, let me just make sure that we include all of the information. So, Ellie, are you saying, or Sheila, were you saying that we will change the name of the fund that we're describing and we'll be voting on?
It's a fund proposal, so I mean, we
Yeah.
can name it what we want to. I don't think there has to be a
Yeah.
elaborate renaming of,
Oh, okay. Okay, so, let's see, Chip, you had a question or a comment?
Yeah, I mean, I was just listening to Sheila, so I don't know exactly what's been covered and what hasn't, but I was looking at the sentence stating that trustees maintain sole authority over all decisions regarding management and use of the funds. Under 22 VSA, anyway, it's a Vermont statute, trustees clearly have authority over library operations, etc., but municipal funds and disbursement processes still function within the town's overall financial system, which is what you might have been alluding to. So would it be more accurate to describe this as like a trustee operational authority rather than exclusive financial control?
I guess I'm not sure what you're
Just the
saying.
definite.
That I think that this, the trustees, in the Vermont statute, the trustees are given authority over all assets that come into the town for the use of the library. And so all of these assets that come into the town and get put into this fund are under the authority of the trustees.
Okay.
So that's,
I see this as a way to track the expenses,
Right.
not control them.
Okay,
So
that's what
we
I
would
was
have
wondering.
better accounting, and so would the library,
yeah.
for how the money's spent going forward.
So it's basically better, a way of saying this is the way that the trustees are leading library operations rather than having complete financial control on their own.
The statute says they have complete control.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
They do.
But the select board still has the control over the money that is
That's what I'm
voted
saying.
on by the budget.
Okay, that's what
through
I'm
the
trying to,
budget,
right, that's the
through
differentiator.
Yeah,
Okay,
so you've got two, if you look at the spreadsheet check on the left,
Yeah,
you have that on the
I
left?
do.
So there's the 003 budget, and the select board has control over the wages and the books and services budget that's approved by everybody at town meeting.
Okay,
yeah.
What do you
I
mean
don't-
control?
I
We
don't
can
know if I-
propose a budget, but it is approved by voters.
I think once
So-
the,
You're right.
So we don't actually have, we still can just track the expenses once they're approved by the voters. We don't,
Right.
we can put it to the voters to approve, but once that's,
Right. I'm sorry.
yeah,
control is
I know
a
what you
different
meant.
word.
Okay, Tammy, did you have?
I did.
Yeah.
Tammy Sargent, Creamery Road. I actually have a couple of questions. One, I noticed you guys want to vote on this tonight. I think it would be kind of nice to have a little bit of time, even for people like me that are just understanding what this agenda item was. So I don't know if there's urgency, why it has to be voted on tonight. But the next thing, I'm listening to what's being said. I remember years back when Richard Wazansky was on the select board, and there was a fund that was in the town control that got moved over to the Friends of the Library or something like that. And I remember Richard saying, well, if we do this, do we still have access to that money to do what we want with it? Are we going back to something that we had already done, or is this something totally different? I'm just confused on the whole, what Richard, does somebody remember?
Please,
I don't, this has nothing to do with anything that Richard
Oh, okay.
had talked about or any monies that transferred earlier. This is in that old fund that was for the library is closed and done. That doesn't, there's no activity in that old.
Oh, I don't
Guilford
mean for when they were doing looking into the addition, that's not what I'm talking about. It was actually prior to that. This was back quite a while ago.
Okay,
I'd have to
well-
look back into it,
well,
that's
this
why I'm
is-
saying,
yeah,
is this urgent
This is a new
fund that you wanna
yeah.
create?
And it's money that's, there are many donations that have been given to the library and bequests that need to be, or that will be moved into this fund to track. And I just want to make it a little easier to
I have
follow
to,
along.
are you putting like the Friends, the money you guys raise as the Friends of the Library and the town stuff? Is that what you're doing, is like globbing it together?
No.
It's just
Saying
the
separate.
town thing, is just, you're just having it for what the town is responsible for?
Jeanette, did you
I'm
want
on the finance committee, so I think, now I lost my train of thought. As what John says, like the Friends of the Library is gonna be their own entity, their own, they'll raise funds and they'll.
Aggravates me.
I'm sorry, Jeanette Tokar's, Ashworth Road. The Friends fundraising monies will go to their own account. Money that comes in, say through the annual appeal grants, that will go to this new fund that will be managed by the Board of Trustees, but with the accounting and tracking done by the town.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
They're not
there's
doing that now, though?
partially, so it's a complicated web because there's the money that the town appropriates through town meeting to pay payroll, etc. The library also raises funds to help cover operating expenses. So when donations come into the library, that actually is going to go to the town now and help pay for basically a budgetary offset. And then there's a whole bunch of grants that come in. So grants, donations to the library, and the town appropriations will all be tracked by the town. So it's actually separating things out, hopefully in a way that allows for much clearer tracking of how the funds are being spent.
More transparency, it sounds like
transparency.
the town is tracking it, than
And-
if you're
and
tracking it.
And I'll say that Amber and John have been leading the charge on this because, Amber's not an accountant. She's by kind of putting more of this on Ellie. We're freeing up Amber to do more library director activities and less bookkeeping and accounting.
Sheila?
I just, maybe if you're saying a fund, it's implying or maybe people inferring that we're gonna be raising more taxes, and we're not. This is the same two budget lines that have been in existence for years. And then the funds that come through other sources, not taxes, that the town already administers. So there's no new taxes, it's just the way the money is tracked.
And people will be able to see this in, I'm presuming, next year's town report.
Yes, you'll see the two things that the town pays for in the town budget, and then you'll see this new fund. I don't have a fund number for it yet, but it'll be among the other funds that we report on as well. And it'll, so you can see what the library budget is, you can see all of it. The grants they bring in, everything.
Okay, Steve, did you have something?
Yeah, I think the fund is a great idea, but I would go back to the name. I think it's important that the name of this fund be clear in its title. You know, so the best you can do is to say, is it trustee, is it this, is it that, is it town? So I think when somebody looks at it, they have a pretty good idea of what they're looking at, not just like library fund.
I mean, I kind of like Guilford Free Library Trustee Fund.
If that
Okay.
describes it, then that's what
It
it should be.
describes what it is.
What's the acronym for that?
Guilford.
Do this.
Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, I just thought you guys were already doing
Can I
this.
see that?
Yeah,
It's expanding what we're
it's kind of, yeah, this has been a process that's over a few years where we, 2 years ago, maybe, the books and services line, got extra money put in at town meeting, as part of the, at the same time that we asked for more money for the wages line, we also asked for more money in the books and services line 2 years ago. And since that time, we have been working out a system of working with the treasurer's office to submit invoices and get things paid out of that line. So all of that has been happening. But then we have our fundraise monies and our grant monies that we pay for in a different way. And so this is a way, from our angle, it's a way to put all of what we're doing into one place. And so this will be, our fundraise monies will be in this fund, and we will submit invoices to get paid out of that, to make payments out of that.
Okay, well, we need to move on,
So-
you know, and so, it's also very wonderful that, there were, substantial donations to the library in memory of Barbara Hunt. And that, is just always pleasing to note. So I think we're ready to vote on this. Tara, did you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if there's an expense report or an Excel spreadsheet that's shared with Ellie from the library.
Regarding their budget?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll also be in the town report.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Tara, are you ready to vote on this?
Yep. I.
Okay, Chip?
Aye.
Mike? Sheila? Aye. And Miranda says aye. So we have approved the creation of the trustees fund. And now we're on Green Mountain Power Undergrounding Project on Packer Corners and Jelly Mill Roads. And we discussed this with Tim from Green Mountain Power last week and had some requests for clarification and review. And so, Erica, did you want to talk about what happened between then and now?
Sure. So the town's attorney reviewed it as normal with any contract like this, and per Jimmy's requests and the select boards, we added a line about culverts. It previously said that they would be replaced with culverts of the same diameter, and we changed that to same diameter of the pre-existing culvert, or 18 inches, whichever is greater. And then the very important part was we changed 3 inches to 6 inches of new crushed gravel, replaced in any areas where they do work. And the attorney added a line that says, should GMP not perform the repairs within 7 days of notice from the town, or in a situation the town deems an emergency, the town reserves the right to perform the work and to bill GMP for the town's staff equipment time required for such work. GMP agrees to pay such bill from the town within 30 days of receipt. Tim Jones was not able to be here tonight. He's in Jamaica, Vermont. But he approves of this new addition to the contract, and he signed it.
Excellent.
So.
Excellent, and thank you, Jimmy, for always sticking up for us. Okay.
I would like to thank Sheila because she, we seemed a bit rushed last time, and
It was the snow.
she said, "Whoa, time out! I've got a couple questions," which really got into that. So I would like to thank her for being
Right.
diligent and keen.
That's right.
Can I just confirm, Jim, that there's gonna be, he agreed to the 6 inches of gravel on the shoulders?
Correct.
Okay,
It's in the contract. He signed for it.
thank
Yes.
you.
There did seem to be a certain reluctance, but that was what we all stood for. So thank you, Tara. Okay, so we're ready to vote now, I'm presuming.
I move that we
Oh, that's right.
authorize, that we accept this, that we sign the contract with Green Mountain Power for the repair of whatever.
Is there, okay,
Jelly Mill and
Packer Corner.
Packard Corners.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further conversation? Okay, Sheila, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Chip?
Aye.
Tara? Aye. And Veranda says aye. Okay, thank you for your diligence on that. So the next thing, item C, is on the special meeting petition. And so Erica, do you want to report on the update from this?
Sure, I can. So, what this is about, Tara has put forth a petition to the town. This petition has 2 questions, and she put it out at a certain time last week and to gather signatures. A couple came in today, and then a big one with lots of signatures at around 2:30. They finished coming in, and Uriel stamped that it had been received, but is not yet finished validating the signatures. And so the petition is in Uriel's vault, and therefore the select board is not in receipt of this petition yet. I have been doing a lot of research this last week about what to do with such a petition and how it should have been worded to allow the select board to act on it, but we don't have it yet. So our attorney's recommendation is to you can't warn the requested special meeting until the petition is delivered to you by the town clerk. The clock for 60 days warning period starts today, although, because today is the day that the petition was received by the town clerk. So if you take it up at your next meeting, that's totally permissible.
But you said that as long as I got it on Monday, it would be okay. And then you said at 5:30 tonight that Uriel has 24 hours to count, which would have been great to know last week.
Well, it is in state statute, Tara. That's how you do a petition. 17 VSA 2643A authorizes the town clerk to accept a petition for a special town meeting The town clerk must verify the signatures, and the select board must warn the meeting within 60 days of the petition's filing. So it's stamped for today, it was received today, so the clock has started on the 60 days, but, you know, statute says that Uriel has 24 hours to count and vet the signatures.
So it's the same thing anyway. Whether or not we get it today, it's still the same 60 days.
Yes.
Okay.
And so we can take that up.
Well, can we talk about the Article 2?
Is that the motion? Is that the discussion, or is the discussion about accepting?
No, there's 2 articles, and one of them
Excuse me. What? I was just asking a question first, which was the agenda item tonight to accept the petition or to discuss the questions asked in the petition?
My understanding was that we would accept the petition at this meeting. And because we don't have the petition in hand yet, we can discuss the petition at the next meeting. But this is the date on which the span of time between the submission of the petition and the meeting to discuss it will, this is the beginning time. The clock is ticking.
Okay, well, Article 2 needs to be changed. So if this comes up at the next meeting, then we're going to have to talk about Article 2 at the next meeting and then warrant a separate meeting for Article 2?
Well, I mean, can we talk about
Okay,
the general petition that
yeah, I have no, does anybody have a problem with discussing it?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
So Article 2 is not legal. The attorney suggestion is to reject that because it's for an unlawful purpose. The question is not something the state law allows voters to decide without a petition.
Say that again.
And there's too many words in here.
Just like
The question is not something state law allows voters to decide.
Then you just said without a petition,
No,
which is
that was extra.
Oh, okay, fine.
Sorry, that was a
Okay.
statement on my part, I think. The question is that the question wants the town to be able to vote to approve a zoning bylaw, and that is against statute. The select board does that. The town does not have authority to do that or to request that permission, although the select board can give the town that permission once the select board has bylaws to address.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Okay, so with Article 2, under Title 24, the municipal and county government, we learned just recently that the select board adopts bylaws. As you know, the planning commission recommends them, and then the voters have 30 days to petition for a town-wide vote. The process is legal, but it forces citizens to overturn bylaws after they take effect rather than vote beforehand. Given how significantly zoning affects property rights and the character of the town, many people believe, 207 today in 2.5 days, that the voters should have a direct voice before adoption, not just a limited opportunity to react after the fact. That's what Halifax did, and the Planning Commission recommended that it not be repealed, so then it was already in effect once it became an adoption. My question is, why should citizens have to overturn something after the fact instead of voting before it takes effect? I understand that it's a law, and I guess I'll have to ask the state that.
Right, that's the statutory framework of how it rolls.
So but also Chip had some ideas about different verbiage, and that is something that I would like to talk about.
Can I ask a procedural question, Tammy and Chip?
Oh, that's Tara.
Tara, sorry. If, so you've got 207 people who said, or 70, whatever it is, who said this should be a question before the town. If you change the petition, the wording on the petition of a question, if you amend it, do you have to then go back and get signatures on that? I'm like really unclear whether you're allowed to change. Maybe Chip has read this statute. Because, I mean, we have a petition, which is going to go before the voters, but if one of them is illegal, then we can't actually present that question to the voters? Is that what I'm understanding?
That's the recommendation. And
Who has the authority to reject it?
the select board does.
The select board. Because it's illegal.
Because of that
Not
reason.
because the select board has an opinion on the merits.
Yeah.
But the verbiage can be changed. However, like, I couldn't ask you, even if it was legal, I couldn't ask you to amend it because I originally wanted it Australian ballot. Didn't have the information. Nobody really had the information, and it was a time-sensitive thing. But I couldn't ask us to amend it this evening because the town already voted. So they signed the paper on the article.
So I'm sorry, that's not the town voting. That is voting to get an issue before the town.
A petition. The petition.
A petition.
What
Yes. Okay.
They signed.
I mean, like, I will always sign a petition to bring something to the voters. It's not that I will necessarily approve or disapprove of a petition. There's a petition, I think it's always worthwhile to bring it to voters. But I really am confused about the minutia of this. If we, I'm confused about that, and B, I'm wondering what is the rush to act? We don't have the grant. We're not going to have zoning tomorrow or next year. Why do we have to do this? So can we be more deliberate in answering
One of the articles is valid. So,
but again, no rush, because I mean, I'm not saying I don't know. I'm saying, is there a big rush to do this now, or can be really careful about how it should play out?
well, this is the start of it. Everything starts and everything takes time, obviously, because we're not voting tonight to have a special meeting. So I don't see that it's an issue to not start the process.
What do you envision what are the next steps? I mean, if we say, okay, let's, within 60 days, tonight we can't vote anyway, but we do know the clock is running for 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
On 60 days, we hold a hearing or a special town meeting.
A special town meeting.
To act on what?
In 60 days.
Let's act on Article 1 and be able to discuss the verbiage even before that. So we have Article 2 ready. So maybe at next town meeting, we have the time to do the research for Article 2, and then I can present that, and then we can amend the verbiage because everybody thought that it was by Australian ballot anyway.
Everybody thought what was by Australian ballot?
The original petition.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
So that section of this petition, which is the one that everybody signed. This part that says request that these articles be placed on the warning for vote by Australian ballot. That's not how Guilford votes on public questions. So that our attorney and I would recommend that once the select board receives this, to ignore that part.
Well, that is something that the select board can completely override because it can be a special circumstance. And yes, we've used Australian ballot in the past for COVID, and then we went back to floor. But one of the reasons to have Australian ballot on something like this is for all the people that can't be there. Right. And it is something that the select board can absolutely vote on. So
I'm not sure that that's true.
It has to be a town vote.
Can I?
This is how
So
yeah.
Wait, let's one at a time.
Go ahead.
Chip, did you want to say something? We haven't heard from you
Well,
about this.
Yeah, so right now the way Article 2 is written is illegal. a zoning bylaw cannot take effect, this is the language, summing it up. A zoning bylaw cannot take effect unless the voters approve it. Okay, that's illegal, the way voting works in Guilford. So you've got to look at under chapter 117, what you're trying, or what Tara's working to make happen, or what needs to happen just to make the vote actually mean something, is that the select board has a defined statutory role in the formal adoption of zoning bylaws and amendments after the required hearings and notices, right?
Say that again.
The state law defines the select board as having a statutory role in the formal adoption of zoning bylaws and amendments after the required hearings and notices.
Okay.
All right, so the statutory adoption step cannot be replaced by a town-wide vote without creating legal vulnerability.
Okay.
Okay, so state law gives the adoption decision to the select board under 24 BSA 4442, not the town meeting, requiring voter approval as a legal condition would conflict with the state law. So that's why Article 2 as it's written right now won't work.
Yeah.
All right, so there's another, the other option, and I'm only just putting this out as another option, is that it would be, you could do an advisory, but not a binding. So the language could be something like the select board, before we take our vote on zoning bylaws, we would ask the voters what they think. We will consider that when we decide. So here the select board still makes the legal decision. The town vote is input. It helps guide the board, but it doesn't replace the board's job. The bylaw only becomes law if the select board votes to adopt it. So the voters all vote, which in my opinion is better to do it prior to the zoning bylaw than after the zoning bylaw.
A potential zoning bylaw.
Potential. And that way, voters vote, select board hasn't taken action on it, the voters vote, and then the select board takes action on it, and that's legally binding, and it stays in line with state statute.
Did you want to say something, Sheila?
But that's why I also think that Sheila's right. There's no rush on this. It's not like next Tuesday this has got to be done.
But, well, excuse me, as chair, I'd really like to put something out here. I'm not going to be chair for long.
Right.
Okay? You know, we have a town plan, and my understanding is that few people have read the town plan or know where the town plan is if they wanted to read the town plan or understand the process through which our town plan has evolved. And I feel as if this is really, from my perspective, and I don't have authority over anybody, you know, from my perspective, I wish that we would take a big step back and understand a kind of, I wish we had like the town plan for dummies, you know, that just had key things that were in the town plan or regulations from the state that already exist or that are coming down the pike, so that rather than talking about who has the authority to make decisions, we even knew what we were talking about, because it's hard. And so many people's work, the so-called Old Town Planning Commission and the current Town Planning Commission, many people's work went into crafting that plan. And I feel as if we have a whole lot of divisiveness and a whole lot of kind of panic about what's going to happen to us. I further feel as if things are coming toward Guilford from the state and beyond the state. Things that could be reactivation of nuclear power, AI next door, things that are of deep concern or welcome to lots of people in the town, and that we really need to do some learning, and we need to have a little bit of trust and humility. And that's what I have to say about this. However people want to proceed about this, fine, but I think these are things that I need to have heard.
Thank you. Can I get back to
What do you want to
Can we
say?
get back to, yeah.
So I really appreciate what you said. I'm in 187% agreement. I actually do not know whether I would favor zoning or law, but again, tonight I'm still trying to understand. So we have this petition that we're going to get. Am I understanding that we, the select board, can amend the 2 questions, proposed articles?
Yes.
So we get a petition that people feel really strongly about, but we can say what the issues, we can amend the articles?
Well, yes.
That doesn't seem right.
I think the first one, Kristen has offered a little bit of revision to that. And the second one, since it's not a legal article, she offered alternative and ideas.
Which
shifted.
Again, which the select board has the right to state, or which the petition, we have to re-petition? Because the select board,
You could require that. The select board could require that.
I don't want to.
Or, since the petitioner is
A select board
a
member.
select board member, you could work with her.
Mike?
I don't understand. You're saying we can change the wording of what people sign their name to?
Yeah, that just.
No, I
Working
don't
with
think
Tara,
so.
I think you can.
I just can't believe that that's true.
That's not right.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to change.
Tara, would you be comfortable with
I said I don't think I don't think it's true, or if it is true, it's not right. So therefore, if everything went as it was supposed to go, I didn't feel comfortable asking for an amendment to an Australian ballot this evening. So I think that's something that has to be researched. And Article 1 is good. Erica said Kristen has some revisions. We need to work on Article 2 because one of the things that Chip probably said, but I want to say again, is one option would be to keep the statutory adoption process in place, the select board vote after the required hearings, but adopt a clear policy that any proposed zoning bylaw or major amendment will first be put to the voters by Australian ballot before the select board acts. So we or I need to find out if we can amend it, and then once we have the 5%, it's our responsibility to warrant a meeting.
So would that be withdrawing the petition tonight, examining these procedural issues, getting more signatures, redoing it and getting more signatures? Is that what you're proposing, Tara?
No, that's not what I want to do.
I know, but I don't know how we don't have to act tonight. We can resolve it.
We can't act tonight.
So we could resolve it before the 23rd.
So can the people who care most about helping to clarify this get together before the next meeting, before the agenda is set, and
Why can't we act on adoption 1 tonight?
Because that wouldn't be valid. The select board does not have the petition.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Sorry. And I just to clarify what I'm talking about amending, in the first article, Kristen added for 3-year terms as current terms expire. That was her addition to which successors shall be elected for 3-year terms, because that's what they are currently. So that was the only addition to that. So I feel like that is,
So that would be,
like, okay, that's not a substantial change of.
so that would be instead of,
It's an addition. It's just an addition. It's an additional phrase
Okay.
into your original.
Okay.
So
elected for 3-year terms.
So, did you tell me that Uriel has 24 hours to count the signatures?
Yes.
Okay. So then what I want is to have Article 1 on the next select board meeting to vote or to warrant.
If
but doesn't it
that
have to be
is allowed.
rewritten or not?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, that's why I think we have.
This is what I mean, when I looked into that, because I had the same question you did, so I just wrote myself some bullet points, but the select board, this is what I mean, and we could have to bounce it off Kristen as well maybe, but I've got the select board cannot unilaterally, revise a petition article. Once the voters submit it, the article belongs to the petitioners, not the board, and the board's authority is limited to deciding whether the article is lawful and warrantable, right? So what the select board may do is verify the petition meets statutory obligations, yada yada, decide whether the article is lawful, and can suggest alternative language or a separate article of its own, but they may not edit the wording, substitute its own revised version and claim it's the petition, change the substance while still treating it as the same petition. And the board, however, can add its own version, right? The petition article, if lawful, a separate select board sponsored article offering different or corrected language could be submitted, and then voters would then see both. So the bottom line, as I wrote right here, is the select board can accept, reject as unlawful, or offer an alternative, but it cannot rewrite the petition article itself.
You're stating that or asking that we confirm that?
That's what I put myself as a bullet point. That's not the question I put to Kristen, but I'm saying that from what I read, this is my interpretation. The select board can accept, reject as unlawful, or offer an alternative, but it cannot rewrite the petition article itself.
Well,
Which I think
wonder,
would be fine.
I'm sorry,
That's all right.
Chip, I didn't mean
That's
to
okay. No, go ahead.
interrupt. I feel as if there's nothing more that we can do with this tonight. There's too much ambiguity, and I think a lot of people have very strong, passionate feelings and want to have action. And I hope that within the next 2 weeks, they can reflect on it, help each other out, and come back to us with something that we can deal with next week. I mean, 2
Erica?
weeks.
Yes.
Can you explain the addition that Kristen added? Because last I heard, Article 1 was just fine. So so what does she want to add? Because I think that it's acceptable as is.
Okay, well, she just wanted to clarify the term lengths because it's not clarified there, so that is, it's just left unsaid in the article currently, and she added term lengths of 3 years.
Well, that is something that we could absolutely amend to Article 1.
Right.
And I'd like to make a motion to amend that.
I think that we're not going to do that at this meeting.
Steve's got a question.
Stephen, Ellie.
Go ahead.
How many signatures? Is it 18 signatures that you have to have?
It's almost 196, I think.
No, how many do you have to have?
207.
Is that what you're telling me?
5%.
Oh, okay, 5%.
5% of registered
Yeah,
voters.
I was gonna say.
We got over 10.
Ellie?
I am concerned that if you do anything to the, whatever it is you've got there, it will need to go back to everybody to be signed again because you've changed it. Which is something I remember hearing at a training that we were attending. So I think that needs to be clarified first. My understanding is if you present a petition, if it's changed in any way, then the voters who haven't signed for your amendment. They've just signed for the one that you presented on paper. Is that, am I making myself clear?
Yeah.
You are making
So,
yourself clear.
I think that point has to be clarified before you make an amendment to it.
Well, that's probably a VLCT question,
It
you know.
probably is.
You know, it's not thorny, it's generic. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So their legal department could probably, Kale, you know, can
Yeah.
respond.
Aren't they already 3-year terms? Like, isn't it kind of redundant to put that in there? I mean, if whether it's volunteer or appointed or not, isn't it just 3-year terms anyway?
Right, it's clarifying.
But it's
clarifying
just
language.
clarifying.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's not changing the whole
Substance.
meaning of the
Correct.
thing, because already it's a 3-year term. And it's just.
Said that members will be serving at the time of adoption shall continue to serve the remainder of their current terms, after which successors shall be elected in accordance with 24 VSA Section 4323 and other applicable Vermont law.
So it's not changing the length of the terms, it's just changing how they're getting in there.
Well, we're not in a position that we can change it ourselves right now.
I think we've already decided also that we can't we can't vote tonight. There's nothing to vote on.
Right. So we're sadly going to be moving on.
Yeah, but, okay, did we decide? But we are moving on, but I don't even think the next meeting is the right time either. There's no, you know, that's what I was trying to say when I was backing up Sheila. There's no rush on it. And then the important thing is to get it right, not get it fast. So let's just, there's no deadline, there's no finish line on this. So let's work through the process, get the language exactly right so we can have a positive and constructive discussion on it, whether that's in, you know, at the next February meeting or it goes to March, April, and it's done right and it's done correctly, and then we're all on the same page and can operate that way.
Well, I think the pressure is just coming from feelings, and
Yeah, but we don't have
I agree
to
with
succumb
you.
to that. I know there's pressure out there, but you know what? There's also pressure to get it right and to get it lined up and have everything in line, and that's actually, to me, more important. So I'd rather get it right, get it on paper, and then get a discussion going that's constructive, and that could take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, you know, there's too many layers. There's a Kristen layer, you know, it's back and forth. Let's just settle it, give ourselves 3, 4, 5, whatever it was, and then move on.
I just can't help but say something along the lines of what Miranda said. Just doesn't make sense to me what we're doing. I've asked a number of people, and I won't embarrass anybody in this room by asking, but how many people, and please don't raise hands, but so many people can't tell you what's even in the planning, the town plan. And we're talking about some really important stuff here without even having the basis for what people spent, I don't know, hundreds of hours constructing. And I was part of the second group that came in. And I know Jeanette's put a lot in, and a lot of people have put a lot of time in. And we seem to be just kind of ignoring that. And anyway, that's the end of my contribution to this. But I don't know why we're not stepping back. Let's take a pause here. Legitimate points have been made, I think, by Tara and others. Let's think it through well, and let's know what our town plan says, and maybe what it doesn't say. Maybe they're false with it, and talk about it.
We're in this position because of what happened with the grants. That's why we're here. These articles are about process, transparency, democracy. They're not for or against zoning.
Well,
that's all I'll say.
The town plan has a huge scope, and I think having a shared education plan for understanding what's in the town plan will be greatly useful, and I can put the link to the town plan everywhere that Guilfordites gather. It's right on the town website, and I imagine that there are paper copies of the town plan here in the office. Are there not?
Yep.
How many?
Lots.
Lots of paper copies of the town plan. And I think we need to be diligent.
I think it's behind you, Ellie, and up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never
Okay.
mind. It's there. It's also online. We don't
Okay.
need to go there anymore. Right.
So, thank you everybody for your thoughts on this.
One more quick comment or question.
Yeah.
Could I get a little clarification on the 60 days you guys were talking about earlier? Because just now, there's a lot of talk about slam the brakes on, slow down, let's do this right. What is the 60-day deadline? What has to happen within 60 days of today's signature or stamp of receiving the petitions?
I don't know.
Well, if the original intention is carried through, that starts 60 days. A special meeting has to be warned before April 10th.
Warned or held?
Warned, not held.
And the special meeting will be to consider the petition as worded.
The articles of the petition.
The articles of the petition,
Well, if allowable.
if allowable.
But so a special meeting has to be warned between 30 and 60 days in advance of the meeting. So if you have to warn a meeting, you can't just say, we'll do it in December or next town meeting day. It has to be between 30 and 60 days from the warning time. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so next we're up to D on new business, which is the discussion of the 003 and 009 budget. And we had some clarification that we wanted to do on that. And there were two parts to it, I guess. One had to do, I mean, maybe we don't need to discuss it anymore, but there was a clarification of a voter wanted to know why the budget had gone up so much in the last, how many years?
5.
5 years. And so that was addressed. And the other question was about what kind of last minute information comes in that the town treasurer and the town administrator have to fold into the budget between the last budget meeting and when the budget is approved. And so, Tammy, did you have either of your questions answered?
No, and I didn't know that we had answered any of them. You said that that had been resolved. My question was why now our total expenditures for the 003 for the general fund is $1,407,616 when just last year, in the email I sent to all of you, I used the 5-year example because I know we've had hiccups in budget for the last couple of years. But when I look at the last 5 years, we've almost doubled in expenditures. It is a huge increase that I think we should have looked at a little closer before the budget got approved. And some of the changes that got made there was enough time, I thought, between the last budget workshop meeting in the middle of December to when you guys just accepted the revised version, a version that none of us saw at the last budget workshop meeting at the end of January. I'm thinking, we had over a month. Why couldn't we have had one more budget workshop meeting to discuss the changes and try to explain how there's such a huge increase in expenditures in the general fund, but not in the highway fund? The highway fund is very level funded. It's pretty impressive, really. But the general fund is so much higher that I think it warrants taking a closer look at
Higher than what, Tammy?
than what it's been in the past years. I sent in the email that I sent to all of you, I'll go back to the 21-22, fiscal year 21-22 was $838,215. I can read them all to you guys if you want. I know the select board has a copy of it.
I don't.
But the budget that just got approved for the 26-27, the total expenditures just for general is $1,407,616. That's a huge increase.
Ellie has done some research on this
Okay, go ahead,
particular
Ellie.
question. Thank you, Ellie.
First of all, I want to start by saying I didn't see Tammy's piece of paper until after 5 o'clock today. Okay?
And that's my fault.
Well, it wasn't sent to me either.
And she is the treasurer.
And I have to disagree with your numbers. There's two different things going on here. And one of them points exactly to the issue that we've been having, which is the articles do not relate back to the budget. Okay? I went back through all the years and even before. I started for the meeting in 19, which was the budget for 20. That budget, the number you have under expenditures.
I don't have that one. I didn't go back that far.
Okay, well, let me just start there.
Okay.
The number the article said was $897,532. $897,532 was money to be raised by taxes. The actual budget, which was presented in the book, was $1,156,942. Okay, I went, and I'll give you this piece of paper, I can even go copy it, but it has all the actual budgets that were put in all of the years that you have here. So figuring from all the way back to that first number I just read, up through the actual budget for fiscal year 27, which is what is going to be in this year's town report, of 1.4 million, 7,615. That's only a 22% increase, and we're talking over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
I guess I'll have to get a copy of that from you. So what I'm confused about, you're saying that it has to do between expenditures. Maybe give me a photocopy of it. That's your notes.
Sure, I will give you a photocopy of it. But this
Here,
is,
we can.
I'm just gonna say,
So that's on
these
the
are
right here.
numbers. I just went back through all of the town reports that you
Oh,
listed.
thank you.
And the issue is how the article says what's gonna have to be raised through taxes versus, as we get into these later years, versus what's not going to be raised by taxes. And as we've said before, the formula was not correct.
But
So
that
the
was only for the last
hold
few
on,
years,
those
correct?
articles were wrong. I didn't do all the research to fill in the blanks for 20, 21, and 22. Yeah, I didn't do that. But you gotta look at the actual budgets that were presented. The budgets that were presented only went up 22% over the last 8 years.
That's 2.75% a year on average, if that's 8 years, which is.
So I'm glad to share this with anybody. These are my scribbles, and I can put it in the spreadsheet so it's related. It's a little bit more easy. You did pick out the numbers that were put in the articles, for sure.
Right,
Those weren't
and
the
it,
right
and it
numbers.
says
Right.
the total expenditures and what's gonna be raised through
Right.
taxes, so what I'm trying to understand is, how is there such a small increase? How can you come up with only a 20% increase
Because
in how many
going,
years back?
I'm going to the budget
8.
numbers themselves.
Not the article numbers, the budget
Budget.
numbers.
Okay.
The article
that's
numbers were
where I was
incorrect.
losing you.
That's what she's trying to say.
That's
So,
where I was
yes,
losing you.
I'm going back to the actual budgets for each of those years. That shows the total revenue and the total expenses. And when I look at all those budget numbers for the whole year, the increase is much smaller than, I think you said 68%?
Yeah.
Well, with the expenditures listed out the way they are in the articles,
Right.
that's exactly what it is. I'm not
So
trying
because
to
of that-
exaggerate.
Oh, I know you're not trying to
Okay.
exaggerate, but I'm just saying,
The
you gotta
source
look
was
at
wrong.
the budget numbers.
So how are you getting the budget numbers? Are those out of the town report? Is there a total?
I
at
went to
the-
every town report that I started in-
Because that's where I got my numbers, was from the town
You got it
report,
from
but
the-
only from the articles.
You
So
got it
I'm
from the
asking
articles,
if
yes.
in the town report, it actually has a total that will show me the numbers that you are showing me
Yeah.
on
Yes.
your, okay.
So that's one of the things Erica and I have been working on, trying to figure this out and why numbers look so different. And that's why we're hoping, this year in the annual report, we are changing the articles to reflect more like the highway budget and saying, we're looking at the whole budget, subtracting what's going to be raised by taxes, and then showing that what's going to be, it'll, the big difference is going to be that it's going to be showing the total expenses and what part of that total expenses is going to be raised by taxes. And these numbers, unfortunately, did not reflect that. If you go back and actually look at the budgets, though, you will see that all these numbers that I've put in here are actually also from every town report, but they are looking at the budget, the actual budget that's in the report, not the article. Because that's where we're getting.
So every article that we've had for the last however many years has been wrong?
These articles were not written in the same way that these were, the last few. So I can't tell you what was going on there. I also wasn't in charge of things.
No, but they're in the town report, because
They
like
are
I
in the
said,
town
that's
report.
where I took it, was from the
It's in the
articles
town
in the
report.
town report.
In the
I didn't do
articles.
and it's just, it
Right.
still jumps out at me though. I'm still confused on why we have to.
It does jump out because we have found the error and we're trying to fix it so that it's more understandable and I don't know how else to explain it. Eric,
What the
you have-
town
but-
voted on in the last two articles for the budget was not the article. The last 2 years, starting in 24 and then 25, were the wrong numbers. They were
That I
substantially short. So if you took those numbers and are basing that as your source for the 68% increase, she's saying the source is wrong. You have to look at the actual budget numbers to get the real increase, and it's only 22% or whatever.
Okay,
But I can see-
Rick had
I
his
can see
hand
where
up.
we got your numbers from.
Okay, Rick, what did you want to
Is
say?
it, I mean, is the issue the fact that, the number to be raised by taxes is one thing, and that's what's in the warning. And shall the town raise X through taxes? But there's there's grants, there's other sources of revenue which fill up the budget, above what's, so.
Right,
is
those
that-
are the
is that-
non-taxable
well,
revenue. I had that listed also.
You did,
Yeah.
okay. But is that the difference between what shall be raised by
No.
taxes and what?
No,
No, okay.
no.
Sorry.
It's just the difference in she's explaining it perfectly. It's just the difference in what was printed in the article and what's printed in the budget. It's like two different numbers. It's like being here and looking at a thermometer and checking the temperature, and it's Celsius, and we go, oh, it's 32 degrees, when it's actually Fahrenheit 98. The number's wrong, right? It's the wrong source. So the article did not have the correct budget number in it. So you can't use that to factor in percentages.
Okay, well, I think that we've spent more than 8 minutes on this, and
I would be glad to share this with you and give you a copy.
They gave me a copy, someone had one, thank you.
And I don't think we need to talk about it right now, but I have prepared a comparison of the final budget versus the last budget workshop with highlights and notes. So I'll just give this to you, Tammy.
Okay.
I scanned it and emailed it to Lindsay, but you can have that.
Could I ask a question that doesn't have that, but it has to do with budget? Last year, there was a lot of discussion with the fire department budget, who just went right up. It's a large portion of the town budget. And there was a lot of discussion during the town meeting about trucks and adding it. Did anybody on the select board like dive into that during the week, during the year
we
about?
can't really discuss that now, but Sheila has information about it if you want to talk with her. We have we have 2 more major items on our agenda to talk about, and I think Sheila has the pertinent information for you that I hope will help. Do you?
One sentence?
Oh, go ahead.
It was just a question as to did you
So-
guys dive into that between last
One sentence.
year and this year?
One sentence. The Guilford Volunteer Fire Department's budget is a separate article for the town to approve. The select board has no control over it. That's actually 2 sentences. We did ask them for a balance sheet to be put into this year's town report so that the residents could see what their financial standing is. All the select board does is present the article for the town to approve. We have no control over it. Sorry, that was 6 sentences.
Okay, that's
That was
fine.
all I needed.
Thank you for your concern, Dolores. Okay, so the next item is a discussion of pre-town meeting and town meeting planning. So,
So for pre-town meeting, perhaps you are all familiar with the work I haven't quite gotten to yet, but it's pretty simple this year. Each select board member takes an article and does a little talking point about it, and I can put that together very quickly because this is a very simple warning. The only different thing here is the fire department budget has been combined into one article rather than being 2 per their request. And everything else is something you have seen before.
and so you have already assigned each of us our talking points?
No, I think you and I should go over that.
Okay.
And
I used to do it alphabetically.
alphabetically?
Okay.
Okay.
Just random. I mean, who cares? You know?
Alphabetically from the end.
Okay, so we will get our assignments and create our talking points and our heartfelt responses to all of this.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward agenda this year. And I don't know whether anything, there's been a lot in the news about non-binding resolutions about world affairs and people's different attitudes about how that belongs at town meeting, but we may have that, we may not.
I haven't seen one yet, but
But people will be happy to know that childcare has been arranged, and so there'll be that available for the Saturday meeting. Okay,
I have a question for everyone
yes.
about the Saturday meeting. Last year, we borrowed some chairs from
Oh.
the Broadbrook Community Center, and Ada contacted me today wondering if we needed to do that again.
And they're wonderful chairs now at the Broadbrook Community Center. They're not cold, they're lighter, they stack better,
And
Yeah.
more comfortable.
Okay.
unless they want to make us use the old aluminum, those those metal chairs.
Might make the meeting go faster. We're sitting on.
We don't want the meeting to go too fast because we want people
Lunch.
to be here for lunch.
True.
There, I mean, for lunch. Okay, so do you need volunteers to move chairs?
I think so.
Okay,
Because
I'll
last year
move
we
chairs.
had,
Trucks. Somebody with trucks.
Right, last year we had a truck and a teenager.
Nobody has teenagers, right?
No.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
I'll figure it out.
well, I'm willing to move
So
chairs.
Yeah.
it does seem like we do need chairs though, I think, based on last year's attendance. We used all the chairs.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Something
all right,
like-
well, that was fast. Okay, so next we have a discussion of agenda setting. We had heard from a resident, and there was some discussion about changing the order of items on the agenda. Well, there were two parts of it. One was putting out more information for the public, but the main thing we heard was to move the high interest items on the agenda early in the meeting while people were still fresh. And
Including the select board.
Yeah.
I get fresher. To earlier in the meeting, so that there would be more of a chance for people to take part in the conversation, I guess. And I mean, to me, it's all important. And so it's hard for me to think what, maybe a different chair would have a different place in priorities for what each item of the agenda, how important is it? But I thought it was worth putting agenda setting, it got to be sort of at the end of the agenda, but here we are to discuss it. So what do people think about priorities and in general, would this be putting new business before approving minutes and doing the payroll?
Yeah,
Or having updates?
I think so.
Well, updates should
Updates should be
so Jimmy can
go, right.
and Ellie.
But everything else would be, and I think I even sent out what a proposed, I thought it was a really good idea that Christina had because, inevitably, just in terms of time and interest levels and really, I think in fairness to what's on the agenda and the residents attending here in person and on Zoom, it's a benefit, I think. It's the only, to hit the important items early and let me clarify that because I think Christina had said, to sort of try and guess which items would be contentious or hot button or flare, and you can't do that. Because, something that can, like slated for 5 minutes might go 15 and unexpectedly go long. But I think what you could do instead is, like on the restructured, you do the call to order, you do the rules of procedure, you do any changes, you do the public comment, highway foreman, town treasurer, and, and Erica. Then you go right into the agenda items. Then on the back side, you just do select board housekeeping. So you do like payroll, you do minutes. Yeah, you just do actions from the previous meeting, approve minutes of the regular meeting, warrants, and all of that would be on the back side. And it's important, but it's not as important as to why everybody is showing up in the first place, which is to either talk about what's on the agenda or that's that's primarily the mission of the meeting, and then everything else in the backside's housekeeping. So it doesn't reduce it, it just allocates it.
Okay, so here's a question. The approval of the minutes, I mean, if there isn't some kind of irregularity, and the payment of the payroll is a snap, 2 minutes for the 2 minutes for the minutes, let's say, and 5 minutes for the warrants. And so how big a deal is that?
Pretty big, actually. I mean, I don't want to be blunt, but we burn an hour usually, 45 minutes, 50 minutes to get through the first part of every meeting before we get to the agenda. Like tonight, we started at 6:30 and it was, 7:15 before we even hit the first agenda item. So it's not the allocation of time, it's the I'm talking about, it's it's just stacking of the priority. Like the meetings are meant to get through the agenda items, etc., and the warrants and everything that we're legally and statutorily mandated to do. But the agenda items are what drive the meeting, and then we finish it with the housekeeping. And if we did it in 18 minutes, we would be great. But Erica's got a lot on her plate. Jimmy's got a lot on his plate. He's slated for 5, regularly goes 20, 18, not tonight. But so that way there's no time frame on it. We're not putting a time frame on it in the second half. We're just saying, look, do whatever you need to do in the second half, take whatever time you need, but in the interest of trying to get the big stuff out of the way early. And we've had a lot of meetings now where we stacked the library, the reserve fund, a public interest policy all in one meeting. We've got this all in one meeting, and it's 8:11 when we're still sitting here. It'd be better in my mind to get it done, to get it allotted earlier so everybody's on it, they can see what's on it, they know the importance of it, each thing is accurately timed, it's not just listed as 5 minutes, it's creation of library fund, 8 minutes. Well, that you look at that and go, okay, that's going to be fairly important, it's slated for 8 rather than 4 or something, and then it runs earlier in the meeting.
Does anybody, Mike?
So am I getting this correct, that if we look at today's agenda, we're talking about moving item Roman numeral 5 and Roman numeral 6 to the end of the meeting? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Which is allocated here 7 minutes. And
But
we
this-
normally don't spend more than what's allocated here for
I
those
hate
two
to
items.
tell you, we do. I mean, I worked in television, so this is kind of like playing a newscast where in a 30-minute, let me just real quick, 30 minutes of news, you had 19 minutes and 15 seconds of content time, right? So you had to, everything would be laid out that way. So if the beginning block, which is highway report and Erica and everything else, is slated for 6 minutes, and you're sitting there and now you're 12 minutes in, you're already running heavy. And if you go back and start timing these meetings, we are never in line with this.
I know, I agree with everything you're saying, I just don't, I'm fine with it.
I'd say
Do it.
try it, and if it doesn't make a difference,
I just
do
don't
it.
see where that's gaining us anything, but it's fine.
Well, you're not looking at the time, but then you're saying you're not, how do we gain anything?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Either look at the time or you don't look at the time. If you're looking at it going, this is only 7 minutes, in practicality reasons, it's probably more like 28.
No, not for those two items, I don't think
Okay, so, Erica.
There isn't very much statutory requirements as far as where something is in the agenda. There's none, I don't think. But this can evolve. We can try it. We can try some different things. We can keep trying different things. It can evolve.
I think we should so Chip and I have been monitoring agendas for months.
Yeah.
I literally have many agendas where I write down the times, and I agree, we go over, we ask you questions, we ask Ellie questions, we ask Jim questions.
And the public
And the
asks
public asks
questions.
questions, and that is, I mean, I think we would, if we move this stuff to the end, we're gonna lose that interaction, but people who care will stay, I guess. So I suggest we try it, we try just rearranging the agenda. If we don't like it, if it doesn't work, we can always go back, no big deal.
Right.
So, Tara, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I also really like the idea of a consent agenda for like routine approvals. Chip had mentioned that, like, that's what Brattleboro does. So if somebody wants a liquor license, we can just like gloss over it and we've already approved it. But I'm just wondering on the agenda tonight, like what would be a consent agenda item?
I'd have to look at it.
Nothing.
Yeah, because everybody wants to, even if you just give the total of the warrants, you still kind of want to pull out the big pieces. So I don't think we're big enough for that to really work. And then I just want to say one other thing about, excuse me, like the line item, it would be really nice. I know that the request was to just have a little bit more information, just like a one sentence, like when it comes to a grant, and it's got a title, but what is, if there's a little more to add. And that's how people can like pick and choose and know like big ticket items that they really want to be there for or zoom in for.
Well, I have no objection to switching.
We have a hand up.
I'm sorry?
There's a hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeanette.
Sorry, Jeanette, 2 comments. I agree with Tara that it would be great to have structure for someone like me coming to present, just that, we want to have the materials a couple days in advance. Here's what we want to have you talking points, what you want to hear. I think that would be really valuable in 2 directions. And this just is really minor. I'm always fascinated by the expense warrant, and you spend a lot of time reading out every single aspect of the expense warrants.
No,
Could there be a second table that's broken out so you don't have to spend time reading that?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that would be part of the consent agenda. That is a good idea.
That's a great
I don't
idea.
understand.
So instead of saying Cargill sand $4,812,
You list it.
You list it.
You list it.
And
You
then
mean
that
just
can
listed
be
on
part of the
the,
consent agenda.
Agenda.
listed on the agenda.
Which you're familiar with anyway.
Yeah,
right?
it
Yes.
definitely can be part of the consent agenda, like to put your warrants there.
Ellie?
I'm sorry, I have no idea what consent agenda means. Can somebody explain it?
Cam,
mean,
would you
I've
explain it?
several times, I just don't know. what
Yeah,
it
I
means.
mean, a consent agenda is where you have everything there and the select board has gone over it already. And then they come and they say, okay, did everybody look at the consent agenda? Yes. Would you like to vote on it? Yes. Or is there anything that anybody wants to pull from the consent agenda? Because you can always do that too. And then it goes to like the end of the agenda. So say there was a check on the consent agenda for $25,000 for a truck, and somebody wanted to talk about it, they could pull that off the consent agenda, okay everything else that everybody's read, and at the end of the agenda, they could talk about that $25,000 thing that they wanted to pull. Or if nobody wants to pull anything, then that all gets approved and you don't have any discussion on it because it's already been talked about.
Right.
It's already
Okay.
been approved.
They got Steve out there.
Okay, Steve?
I just think the pure irony of this is that agenda item new business F, agenda setting, 5 minutes. You guys gotta take a reality pill. There isn't one thing on here that reflects reality, but nothing. Okay, so it's a, and I can tell you how I know this, because when it does match, everybody goes, well, look at that. It's the rarity that it matches. So somebody with a real sense of what's going on has to look at this agenda and put some real numbers beside it. Because
It's not possible.
Okay,
We
Rick?
tried.
The agenda is aspirational.
Yes, it sure is. I have to
But I
unmute
would-
Jason here
I
on
would,
my side.
I would just say that if you're gonna go to a consent agenda for the expenditures, put them in front porch forum. or someplace where the public can see the numbers.
They can go on the website.
Because the numbers are very educational. I mean, I learn a lot every time you do the warrants. You know, it's like, my God, there's just so much going on that you've got to keep track of, and you know, the town's a busy place.
Well, and also, I mean, I see your hand up, and I'll recognize you in just a moment. We have really tried to move toward listening to the public about wanting to offer comments to us. There's a great call for transparency. So in response to transparency, people can hear about every bloody truck axle. You know, great. You know, and then we get the complaint about how we're just going on and on. So you can't have it both ways. Okay, Jason.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Well, I guess my question or my statement is, my issue is the wording on the agenda items. And I'll give you a couple examples, like where there was labeled a report on funds, but the action actually removed from funds from the reserve. There was another labeled town administrator report, and there were actually funds removed from the reserve again. And then most recently, the planning grant awarded actually equaled town zoning bylaws. And so I believe Hannah Tustin asked Erica and Zahn some time ago for the select board packets, like they do in Brattleboro, that whatever you're giving the select board as their packets, that be made public information so that we could actually see that, hey, the planning grant award actually shows the planning grant, and it reads in there 7 times that it's about zoning bylaws. So we'll be triggered to know that is a hot item, and wherever it is on the agenda, we'll know what it's about. Because I wouldn't have known to watch the report on funds to know that you were going to remove funds from the reserve. I wouldn't have known that the town administrator report, they were going to remove funds there. So, and then the planning grant, again, how are we supposed to know what you're going to talk on the agenda and be prepared for that and participate in it if the wording is either misleading or just, you know, completely obscure to the actual agenda item. So I believe that, I think what I would like out of this is every select board, when the select board gets their packets, that is posted on the website the minute the select board members get that packet. If there's any, obviously, if there's any, you know, privileged information in that, there would have to be some redaction. But I believe that if you just gave everyone the select board package, when you announce the meeting, that we could then figure out whatever you label it, we could figure it out on our own. And then whatever time you put it in, we could be prepared for, hey, this is actually what you're going to talk about.
Thank you so much, Jason. Yeah. Okay, so we'll be...
Sorry, I just wanted to say that was a great idea. I love that idea. If there was a folder that we could go to and know all those items that you guys are looking at, because sometimes you are talking and that I have no clue what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. So to know ahead of time would be very beneficial.
Thank you. Okay, so so what I've gotten out of this, just in terms of what will happen for the next meeting, is that we will change the order of the items on the agenda, and we'll clarify what that will look like next time. And in terms of other recommendations about putting packets together for the public, you know, people can discuss the feasibility of that. But next, 2 weeks from now, people will have a chance to see whether this is a helpful change, and people can also try to keep their remarks to a shorter offering. Okay, so is there any other business? Correspondence?
I have one letter addressed to the select board and the treasurer from Athena Advocacy regarding the Evans properties. They seem to have reached a milestone in the probate process, which this letter talks about. And
Yes.
There's a nice addition. It says the Evans family has expressed a strong desire to see the land and property sold in a way that is beneficial to the towns and honors Marjorie and Emery Evans' role in the community.
Yes, well, for anybody who was lucky enough to know them, they were lovely people. And Emery gave his all, and so did Marjorie in her way. Okay, so now I will review the actions taken at this meeting. We approved 2 different sets of minutes. We approved the warrants. We approved the creation of the trustees fund for the library. We approved Green Mountain Power's undergrounding project. We had other discussions, and that just about covers it. And so I will accept a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
I
second
love
it.
that motion.
I see. Is there any discussion of that motion? Okay, Tara, how would you like to vote?
Aye.
Chip,
Aye.
Mike, and Sheila?
Aye.
And Miranda says aye. So thank you all for your patience. And
Stay tuned.
yes, so
Same time.
that's right. It will be all different. It will
Just
be
even ask the